Ooh. Oh. Yeah. Just. Ah, come on. Okay, it's charging? Yay, it's not charging. I had to plug my phone. Make sure I got a good enough battery. Uh, so I can have enough juice for rest of the day and then tomorrow morning. Alrighty. So last time we finally finished this gymnastics article. Well, Wiki page. So learn about the ins and outs of everything, especially when it came to the whole scoring system and how for each performance, how they had to perform, how their score, what's the importance of it. Now, what I do want to go is go to the hyperlinks because I do want to know more about the other gymnastics to actually see what they focus on, especially the ones that are not mainly for competition but for recreation. As an average schmo, I do like the recreational side versus competition side of sports and various personal fitness activities. So yeah, you have most common form of competitive gymnastics is artistic gymnastics. We could go through here a bit, even though it's under competitive. But let's go through here. Artistic gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics, trampoline. Another one we should go is just here. Even though it's governed by the FIG. Besides that, there's also the other ones. This one's not currently recognized by the FIG is Real Gymnastics Athletic Group, Men's Rhythmic Team, Makahamba. We'll briefly go through those because we still learn that they're still pretty competition based, even though they're not part of the FIG. But we'll just thoroughly go through what gymnastics is all about. Artistic gymnastics. Artistic gymnastics is a discipline of gymnastics in which athletes perform short routines ranging from about 30 to 90 seconds on different apparatuses. Yeah, I still remember I pronounced it, so hooray, I'm learning now. With less time for vaulting, the sport is governed by the Fédération Internationale de Gymnastique, I think, which designs the code of points and regulates all aspects of international elite competition. Within individual countries, gymnastics is regulated by national federations such as Gymnastics Canada, British Gymnastics, and USA Gymnastics. Artistic gymnastics is a popular, spectacular sport at many competitions, including the Summer Olympic Games. I'm going to go with the overall history of sport another time, and that's when we covered spectacular sport. But yeah, we're not going to go through all the contents, but I could briefly tell you what they have in this wiki, the history, apparatus, competition format, major competitions, dominate teams and nations, health effects, and then see all the sources from 7 through 9, external links, references, and see also. Alrighty. So how should I approach this? Because for the history, they only have the women's artistic gymnastics WAG, not the men's. So here's the apparatus. Competition format. No. And there's major competitions. And then dominations. I think I could skim over this because for other wiki, it doesn't talk much about competitions between other nations versus this one, but I think it's just because it is too much and Wikipedia and the other people formatting want you to click on other pages to seek more knowledge. So, hyperlinks are here for a reason. But yeah, let's go with just apparatus. Number 2. Apparatus. Both male and female gymnasts are judged on all events for execution, degree of difficulty, and overall presentation skills. In many competitions, especially high level ones sectioned by the FIG, such as the World Championships or Olympics, gymnasts compete in Olympic order which has changed over time, but has stayed consistent now for at least a few decades. Men and women, vault. Let's go through here. Floor exercise, men's only, still rings, parallel bars, horizontal bars. We've gone over um, what they all meant here, so I'm not gonna read the entirety of everything. I want to try to keep up fast pace. Don't spend too much time on one page, so we could equally. It's as a socialist I am, along with what is it? The socialist American patriot that doesn't like liberties. I am. Uh, we gotta equally, but don't fondly look at everything just so we can have a bunch of equal time. If that makes sense. I'm gonna look back at this and like wondering what the hell I'm saying. Oh well. Vault. Vault is an event well as the primary piece of equipment used in this event. Yep. And then talks about briefly here. And yeah, they actually have more images here, along with section off, being section off. So let me see if I could zoom in. Yeah, this would be good for the links. Excuse me. You have this person just going head first on the floor, back stand, and then just sleeping while performing. But yeah, this is vaulting. Way different from vaulting from obstacle. And then you have the floor exercise, which, yeah. The floor event occurs on a carpeted 12 meter times 12 meter, 39 feet times 39 feet square, called a spring floor, consisting of a hard form over a layer of plywood, which is supported by springs or foam blocks. So yeah, so you can see in here, to the most recent, well, least recent to the most recent, and old, as you can tell from black and white. So it's a photograph taken by 2019, which this one's taken in 1960. So yeah, this is a floor exercise. Yeah, this picture still makes it confusing. And in the description it doesn't entirely say just a floor exercise and such, but still, it's organized in this way. What is it? Yeah, horizontally. Versus vertical on the right or left side. So that's think about that. Now let's go with the men's only. So these are just men and women. So vaulting floor exercise is only what men and women can do. They can't do anything else. Oh well. Pommel horse. A typical pommel horse exercise involves both single leg and double leg work. But from what we learned a bit, it actually just changed over time, where this was the whole look of it. It's supposed to make a roundish body similar to a horse rather than this steep, where it looks more like a saddle, so they can have better stability and durability along with less injuries. From what I remember, I gotta keep that in note with the other articles. And you have the steel rings. These rings are suspended on wire cable. Yeah. 19, 5.8 meter. Yeah, as you can see here, rings. So, okay. Then you have the parallel bars. So you can see these are the um, bars that are put. This is from 1896. And this is the flag of the German Empire. So, wow. Shows how old these performances are. Which I think you could say that's appreciated. You could actually look back how people do competitions and how they stay very similar. The times have changed. You could easily see the signs between what this person wears versus now. This guy looks like he's going for a casual morning on to hydrating. You gotta hydrate and you gotta keep on rehydrating, regardless of how you feel. But yeah, he's pretty much dressed like he's going to Starbucks for the morning until he has to clock in shift. Probably has clothes in a locker in his work because oh boy, he is into his job. And then you have horizontal high bar. See here, see here, see here. Do. And the length, just in case the confusion with the plywood, but as you can see, there's two parallel bars, as it says here, parallel versus just a high bar or horizontal. Women's only uneven bars. You have these, which I think they're supposed to correlate with the skip the parallel bars where they're even versus this one is just uneven, and I think it's just ticking in part with. Yeah, I think it should be here. The uneven parallel bars were adapted by the Czechoslovakian Sokol from the men's parallel bars sometime before World War I and were shown in international exhibit the first time at the 1912 Amsterdam Summer Olympic Games. And they at least dressed the parallel bars, and I'm supposed to represent here, but I think for women they didn't want it to be like that. Maybe it's just too much of a challenge, but most likely they just wanted to spice both the competitions up so more people can actually watch the audience during that time. I don't know about today. Maybe it's just standards, or they just don't want to change. And then you have the balance beam, where you have this long bread sandwich looking board. And you know, people perform that and such. Equipment, uniforms, and competition format. We don't have to go do that, but nice statue. Gymnast sculpture in Wingate Institute, Israel. Alrighty, so we went through there. Then let's just briefly go through here. Yeah, dominant teams and nations. Yeah, USSR and post Soviet republics. So this is post, so not during the Soviet Union time. So afterwards. Before the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, Soviet gymnasts dominated both men's and women's gymnastics. Yes, we know that. That's where they got the fucking weird trad scoop, but and maybe some other countries also adopted that before the Soviets did. Like what? Estonia, Belarus, Kazakhstan. Maybe. Boring, making it famous and widely known again. Maybe it's from Kazakhstan. Alrighty. And following the breakup of the Soviet Union, they competed together as one nation the last time in the 1992 Summer Olympics as a unified team, winning the gold. And Romania first achieved wide-scale success in 1976 Summer Olympics. Then you have the United States. While outside American gymnasts included Kurt Thomas and Kathy Rigby, one medal in the World Championship meets in the 1970s. Okay, dokie. Then you have China. China has developed strong, successful programs in both WAG and MAG over the past 25 years, earning both teams and individuals medals. The Chinese men won team gold at the 2000 2008 Olympics. So, yeah, in the past 25 years. So, let's say that this Wikipedia was updated a few years ago. So, yeah, 25, that would be around like the 90s that they really stepped up the game, which, you know, makes sense. The formation of China is really. What is the word I want to describe? it is it's remarkable due to the few decades that they make preference, but that's the case with many uh, countries from the eastern part of Asia. Um, I forgot what the term is. I keep on hearing like, what's it, dragon economies? Let me actually look at that. But yeah, going sidetrack. This is related to the expansion of China, South Korea, which they actually had a history where Japan was the first one to be like that, since there was a huge economic boom. Um, but then again, it only lasted for so much until the 90s, where it became a secession. Okay, yeah, I actually got this. Do, 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 do. Yeah, the four Asian tigers. Yeah, let me actually put here. Let me just go to the side. But yeah, four Asian tigers are the economies of South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Um, but as you can see, further on, this is because yeah, between the early 1960s and 1990s, yeah, they just refer to all of these, which in the sign of the four Asian tigers doesn't deliberately say all countries from the eastern part of Asia, but it does. But something a lot of people has noticed, especially in the West, about okay, the economies around these former developing countries that had a history of not being part of the world stage are being part of the global stage, and there's more that are expanding because that is the world we're living in. Things are changing, but yeah, it's a new century. Now let's go with Japan. Japan was largely dominated in MAG during the 1960s and 1970s, winning every Olympic team title from 1960 through 1976 thanks to individual gymnasts such as the Olympic all-around champions Saiwo Kato and Yukio Endo. Several innovations pioneered by Japanese gymnasts. Okay, yeah, I'm reading more ahead of here. There's a care revolt. And refer to a specific vault and family of vaults in artistic gymnastics. Oh, okay. Then you have Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, other nations. But yeah, South Korea, Canada, Australia, Brazil, Netherlands, France, Italy, and Great Britain are among the other countries to have produced world and Olympic medalists and have started winning team medals at continental, world, and Olympic level. Alright, here's our final thing. Health effects. Artistic gymnastics carries inherently high risk of spinal and other injuries. Eating disorders can also be quite common. Citation needed, yeah. Especially in women's gymnastics when gymnasts are motivated and sometimes pushed by coaches to maintain a lower than normal body weight. Yeah, this goes to the dark side. Too much is just too small though, because it seems like eating disorders can be it's like all in various categories, but then again that's becoming a new thing a lot of people are learning about. Even though yeah, this thing specifically for eating disorders under athletes and professionals because of their body weight that's existed for a long time. What was it from like hell even from carny culture, so circus cultural culture that was springing around the 1800s, where people were starting to get eating disorders. But then again, there's so many elements about that because you have so many people who have different impairments that obviously it was something that they also had to deal with too, along with also being on the road in many places. But yeah, other than that, the highest risk of spinal and other injuries. So I do want to know more of the other injuries too, but I think that will get more into Well, there's the high risk of spinal, which, yeah. That reminds me of. Yeah, I mean, going back to parkour, about looking at injuries and how they tackle it, like the spinal when it comes to vaulting and landing, where landing is important. Hell, it's like it was even important to me when I started to learn how to land properly without hurting myself, and do a tackle roll. Alrighty, that's artistic gymnastics. Here's the other references and stuff like that. Well, now let's go to rhythmic gymnastics. So the second thing. Rhythmic gymnastics. Rhythmic gymnastics is a sport in which gymnasts perform on a floor with an apparatus, hoop, ball, clubs, ribbon, or rope. So let me get this straight. Artistic is usually aerial based, where you're usually up in the air, versus rhythmic being ground. Artistic, air, rhythmic, ground. That's going to be how I'm going to remember it. The sport combines elements of gymnastics, dance, and calisthenics. Gymnasts must be strong, flexible, agile, dexterous, and coordinated. Rhythmic gymnastics is governed by the International Gymnastics Federation, so it's not the French term, FIG, which first recognized it as a sport in 1963. It became an Olympic sport in 1984 with an individual all-around event. The group's all-around competition was added to the Olympics in 1996. At the international level, rhythmic gymnastics is a woman-only sport. The most prestigious competitions beside the Olympic Games are the World Championships, World Games, European Championships, European Games, the World Cup Series, and the Grand Prix Series. Grand Prix Series. Gymnasts are judged on their artistry, execution of skills, and difficulty of skills, for which they gain points. They perform leaps, balances, pivots, and flexibility movements, along with tossing, catching, rolling, and otherwise manipulating the apparatus. I got a picture and video here. Let's go to the history. Gymnasts and apparatus scoring system now. Hold on. So this is on contests, dominations. We don't have to go through here. However, Israel is actually listed here other than the part of the other nations. And even Belarus. So, men's rhythmic gymnastics. I think we could briefly go here because, top here, it did say that in the competition level, it's only women. What about the men? Oh, with the Spanish men's rhythmic gymnastics? There's not much info compared to the Japanese, but oh well. I'm sure exactly this. I briefly will talk a little bit from 7, but I'm just going to focus on 1, 2, and 3, and we'll work our way from there. Okay. So I have these pictures of clones juggling and, I don't know, saluting with their legs. Creepy. History. Rhythmic gymnastics grew out of the ideas of Jean-Georges Noverre, 1727 through 1810, Francis Delsart, 1811 through 1871, and Rudolf Bode, 1881 through 1970. Oh wow, okay. Who all believe in movement expression, where one used dance to express oneself and exercise various body parts. Peter Henry Ling further developed the idea in his 17th century Swedish system of free exercise, which promoted athletic gymnastics in which students express their feelings and emotions through body movement. The idea was extended by Catherine Beecher, who founded the Western Female Institute in Ohio, United States, in 1837. In Beecher's gymnastics program, called Dance Without Dancing, The young women exercise to music, moving from simple calisthenics to more strenuous activities. So yeah, this is so reading out the history and taking away from gymnastics with its history and its cultural impact. It was around the early 1800s. That's how it came to be. Um, because early form of gymnastics focus on flexibility and for the ancient Greeks and Romans, but modern day one started around the 1800s. So, oh yeah, keep that in mind. Maybe Lincoln did gymnastics. Yeah, he probably got too much time with fighting, and learning about law. The rest is just learning gymnastics. Maybe he knew a bloke who was doing that and was like weirded out and probably practiced sometimes. I don't know. During the 1880s, Emilia Georges Delacroix. What the? Okay. Yeah, Swiss composer. Okay, yeah, I'm. These Swiss names are actually challenging. Of Switzerland developed electro mix, a form of physical training for musicians and dancers. Georges Demigny, France created exercise and music that were designed to promote grace, movement, muscular flexibility, and good posture. All of these styles were combined around 1900 into the Swedish school of rhythmic gymnastics, which would ooh, later, dance elements from Finland. Around the time Ernest Ito of Estonia established a degree of difficulty for each movement, in 1929, Henrik Madi founded the Medi School in Berlin to train gymnasts in modern gymnastics and to develop the use of the apparatus. So yeah, I don't have to say it because I'll have a hard time saying it. Competitive rhythmic gymnastics began in the 1940s in the Soviet Union. The FIG officially recognized this discipline in 1961, first as modern gymnastics, then a rhythmic sportive gymnastics, and finally rhythmic gymnastics. The first world championships for individual rhythmic gymnasts were held in 1963 in Budapest. Groups were introduced at the same level in 1967 in Copenhagen, Denmark. Rhythmic gymnastics were added to the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. With an individual all-around competition, however, many federations from Eastern European countries were forced to boycott by the Soviet Union. Canadian Laura Fong was the first rhythmic gymnast to earn an Olympic gold medal. The group competition was added to the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. The Spanish team won the first gold medal of the first competition. The first gold medal of the new competition with a team formed by I'm gonna butcher all these. Estelle Gimnas, Marta Baldo, Neuro Cabanals, Lorena Grenzel, Estee Balls, Martenzi, and Tana Lamarca. The gymnast. Olympic rhythmic gymnastics is typically restricted to female participants, although Japan has begun developing programs in which men can compete, and in Spain, men are allowed to participate in women's competitions. The men's program has yet to be formally recognized by the FIG. However, the men cannot compete in Olympics as a rhythmic gymnast. Gymnastics start at a young age and become age eligible to compete to Olympic Games and other major international competitions on January 1st of their 16th year. For example, a gymnast born on 12/31/2004, December 31st, 2004, would be age eligible for the 2020 Olympics. Gymnasts in Russia and Europe typically start training at a very young age, and those at their peak are typically in their late teens, 15 through 19, or early 20s. But since 2004, it is common to see gymnasts achieving their peak after reaching their 20s. So yeah, this became more Oh yeah, when it came to gymnast, at least learning with this history, along with just briefly the like very briefly in the main article for gymnastics, it does show that it's starting to expand more for other individuals, and as you can see here, it also shows the eligibility of a certain person's age versus um, by case, which to me it does seem like they're trying to be more broader with who can compete. But yeah, I think I got to actually search in Wikipedia if there's something called recreational gymnastics. Just see what it is. Top rhythmic gymnasts must have good balance, flexibility, coordination, and strength, and must possess psychological attributions such as the ability to compete under intense pressure, in which one mistake can cost them the title, and the disciplined work ethic to practice the same skills over and over again. So yeah, this goes with the talks about discipline, work ethic, and along with competing in intense pressure, so competition pressure. But I'm surprised there's no philosophy under what they are. And yeah, there is a certain lifestyle and how people view it because some coaches actually have wrote books and related to material to actually help other people to achieve greatness, along with keeping in history. But I'm surprised there's no overall philosophy between that. So that made me think that maybe it's just the way how other gymnasts look at it and stuff like that. So yeah, you could say that they really are. This is an intense sport more than even the was it well I'll say even difficult ones because of I mean what I found difficult when it comes to sports or any exercise is working under um and trying to be perfect at a what am I look what am I thinking what am I thinking working in a unsettling environment that can create any tension by what is it other individuals or teammates like in a sport or stuff like that or the environment elements where usually you're exercising in a particular building outside. So I think I could go in the realm of recreational soccer where there's so many places you can actually play soccer because yeah, not many people got access towards a large grass field. Uh, so they had to perform on certain attributes of soccer, like doing um, uh, running to tricks in different conditions and stuff like that. Well, what keeps in mind is will be the many places where people practice soccer in Brazil, especially if you live in the favelas, where usually some people will practice soccer throughout the day, and they can probably take a bus to go to a field on the other side of town, or if you're not able to access it, or it's that time of day, usually you will practice outside, your neighborhood and stuff like that. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But this one, it just seemed like it's hard to practice one particular area and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I found the difficulty between that. But and that is something to consider when it comes to getting good at one particular thing is what environment you're working at. But having a bunch of people competing in a controlled environment, I think the only way you can improve yourself is just probably just look at the competition side of it. Maybe that's why a lot of experts actually end up um, seeking that goal versus other things like what they would inspire to them. So like, oh, I want to get good in a um particular thing in gymnastics because of uh improving. I want to get something being particularly good in gymnastics to achieve a particular thing in my life versus uh, an external achievement. So, so yeah, um, as you could hear, I'm actually just thinking about that from the philosophy I learned from parkour and free running because, and even tricking because those were all the articles that came before this, and all of them had a philosophy, and that's a big thing, debating about that type of philosophy from all these people. So yeah, I want to see a coordination, especially with gymnastics, since gymnastics kept them being around. Even not just parkour, but even like tricking how people grab some attributes of that. But yeah, I got to search up recreational exercise, no, recreational gymnastics before uh, today. Apparatus. The FIG selects which apparatus will be used in competitions. Only 4 out of the 5 possible apparatuses are sanctioned. Hoop and rope were the first apparatus used at the World Championships, followed later by ball, ribbon, and clubs. For 2011, rope was dropped for senior national individuals and group competition. In 2011, it was to be dropped for junior national individuals competition, but returned again in 2015. Rope appeared in junior national group competition in 2011 through 2012 and 2017. Rope appeared in senior group competition. Freehand was an event for the 4 first World Championships before being dropped and only used in low competitions, usually for the youngest levels. Oh yeah, this is all about apparatus, really. And the importance of it is just to show the structure. Uh, it's important for the FIG and other competition organizations. So remember that when you keep on hearing apparatus. You have rope, hoop, ball, clubs, ribbons, and yada yada yada. We have the scoring system. So let's go through here to see what it means in general. Oh, there's no overall description, so it looks like you gotta read a bit under Japanese and Spanish. So let me see how much the Spanish is. There's not much. So I could read the entirety of the Spanish men's rhythmic gymnastics. Yeah, let me also read this too. Japanese men's rhythmic gymnastics. Men's rhythmic gymnastics, men's RG, MRG, is an artistic sport which is performed to music on a 13 by 13 meter gymnastic spring floor. It's sometimes called synchronized tumbling, combining the dynamism of powerful acrobatics and perfection of synchronized moves. Athletes are judged on some of the same physical abilities and skills as their female counterparts, such as hand, body, eye coordination, but tumbling, strength, and power are the main focus, as well as apparatus handling, flexibility, and movements called tosho, freehand. There are an increasing number of gymnasts competing alone and on a team. It is more popular in Japan, where high school and university teams compete fiercely. As of 2016, it's estimated that there are 2,000 participants in Japan alone. Some of the outstanding rhythmic gymnasts have made most of the physical abilities for their second careers and become performers in the field of entertainment, such as the world famous Cirque du Soleil. Hmm. Soleil is a Montreal-based entertainment company and the largest contemporary circus producer in the world. Cirque Duel. It's only yeah, I haven't heard about. I heard of other circuses and stuff, but not that. Now let's go down to Spanish. Spanish men's rhythmic gymnastics. There are, particular in Europe, some male rhythmic gymnasts who train and perform in much the same way as their female counterparts and generally applies the same big rules. As for the women's rhythmic gymnastics, Spain is a pioneer country in this field. The Spanish Federation have approved the national level at separate category of individuals men's since 2009 and mixed groups since 2020. Examples of rhythmic gymnastics include Rubian Orhola, Spain; Ismael del Valle, Spain; Jose Sanchez Diaz, Spain; Gerald Lopez, Spain; Thomas Gondon, France; Peterson Sous, France. However, this was not recognized by the FIG. There is no international coordination done as far for the international tournament. And very few countries help men to start rhythmic gymnastics. So yeah. So yeah, this is actually no surprise. Well, going back to Japan one, yeah. A lot of them are from high schools and university teams. They compete fiercely, and many of them, the participant stuff, says here, made most of their physical abilities for their second careers and become performers in the field of entertainment. So there's a means to the end for them, which highly is actually fascinating because this shows the other side between that. Because with competitions, there's only a set uh, thing to do for competitions, and that lasted since like what the late 1800s. What people who would do gymnastics is usually just to compete in these competition forms, but for the rhythmic gymnastics team, you know, many performers would also look at making it as a career. And it could be more of a lifetime career because you go into field entertainment, which there's just there are so many job opportunities and stuff like that, along with also being part of circus companies, stuff like that. Which, and this is a bit of a interest too, is histories of circuses and how circuses are, they're coming more like businesses, corporatized, along with it being like agencies and stuff like that. So going around with that form of entertainment, which uh, which is amazing that they have not done that before other organizations and competitions. But as it says here for the Spanish one, where both for Japan and Spanish gymnastics teams, they're popularizing this idea, expanding more, but there's still limitations because, as it says here, for the Spanish men's rhythmic gymnastics, which comprises only in Europe. So this is referring to just a European uh, gymnast, not just Spain. The discipline is not recognized by the FIG. There are no international coordination done so far to develop international tournament, and very few countries help men to start rhythmic gymnastics. So, yeah, the competition size this would relate to the bureaucracy with how would people conform and practicing and all that stuff like that, and they have to like go through hoops and stuff. And yeah, this is like recent, since 2009, and mixed groups since 2020. So yeah, even going from 2020, they're still going through all this. But it's a bit limiting because what they don't want to try to adhere with FIGs, disciplines, and rules, along with tournament rules, stuff like that. Also, this this actually perfectly explains what I was referring to with the whole philosophy and stuff like that. it's discipline. It's a disciplined mindset. Let me go. Yeah, there's a lot of very beautiful women on the right side, and then oh, cool. This looks like a hit. And yeah, no shoes. Still, I just can't hide it. It just looks like a hat that I just put on my head to stay comfy. Um, but yeah, disciplines. That's what I was referring to because yeah, over here, people top rhythmic gymnasts have to do all the physical attributes stuff along with psychological, not physiological, but psychological attributes, compete under pressure, discipline, work ethic, and such. Because it's not a philosophy; it's a discipline, and and yeah, that does go back to what I keep on saying about there's many books of coaches and top gymnasts talk about their disciplines and share it around, but I'm surprised that there's no philosophy that outgrew it. And yeah, besides that, we finished rhythmic gymnastics, and yeah, you get to see more about that. So, um, yeah, we gone through here. We have to go through a few other things like trampoline, which sadly doesn't have their own hyperlink. So there's tumbling. So there's also the acrobatic gymnastics. Um, so yeah, that will be the last one to get to the other disciplines. Also, let me put something here in the meantime. Just enjoy this picture. Because I just had a fun time figuring out the picture. I'm just meaning. Got it. Do. Okay, let me just read part of this too. Acrobatic gymnastics. Acrobatic gymnastics is a competitive gymnastics discipline where partnerships of gymnasts work together and perform figures consisting of acrobatic moves, dance, and tumbling set to music. So yeah, this goes back to performers playing Eurobeat or trying to perform spider monkey routines, scores, and stuff like that. Alrighty. So what should we do? Because yeah, the rest of this talks about other routines. Yeah, let's just start with here. There are three types of routines: a balanced routine at FIG grade 5 and above, where the focus is on strength, pose, and flexibility. A dynamic routine, also FIG grade 5 and above, which includes throws, somersaults, and catches, and yeah, at FIG grade 6 and above, as well as grade 4 and below. A combined routine, which includes elements from both balance and dynamic. So, just as aerobic gymnastics, there are some routines that categorize the balance, dynamic, and combined. So let me actually go back here. Balance, dynamic, and combined routines. So yeah, the sport, yeah, we already know that it's governed by the FIG. Acrobatic gymnasts perform in pairs or groups and enter in and are judged at specific level of age group category. Yep, we get it. Yeah. The rulers of the sport, known as the code of points, are governed by. Yeah, these rules are subject to change every 4 years in line with the Olympic cycle, as in other disciplines of gymnastics. Okay, so yeah, the sun is very important. I'm glad they actually just stay right here. Would it would like it if it refer it more to the original wiki here? It does not. So yeah, as you say, yeah, the reason why FIG and along with all these points and routines are important is because they simply change. And having rules that change, a lot of people get confused because, changing up the rules will change up really the game and, part of the discipline of of competing in gymnastics is you got to perform under these rules in order to get a good score to compete. You got you're competing on the scoring system. Since it's an individual sport, you don't have to go against one opponent uh, directly. So you got to go with the score. That's the limiting factor. And it changing it every 40 years. People got to know whatever they perform, okay, what are the how do I do on a perfect performance so I could get the most points? So this goes back to the grading aspect of trying to compete itself, and yeah, this is a personal take for me. I don't really like uh grading systems in particular because they can be very uh challenging. Because yeah, if you do look at grading factors and certain actions and stuff like that, it could be overwhelming because you got this whole beast along with tackling with the work itself. So grades and work, those are two tasks that will that are you have to put in the work to it. So yeah, but that's how they go, and they've been going on this for centuries. So yeah, I screwed up because as it has it here along with something else. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was here. Dakota points. Yeah, let me briefly just go through here because we didn't actually look at this. But yeah, if you want the bare bones on it, the Code of Points is a rule book that defines the scoring system of each level of competition gymnastics. And as you can see, yeah, there is a good amount of content between here talking about just these rule books and also other ones. So as you can see here on the external links, 2013 through 2016 Code of Points, specifically on just trampoline gymnastics. That could be for all other ones. But yeah, but they have an entire Wikipedia article with a bunch of hyperlinks on this important thing, along with just Fig. Now, the organizations, competitions are important about with it. So yeah, scoring. That's the main take of it. Gymnasts and gymnastics, it works hand to hand with the scoring process. That's the importance of doing gymnastics. But there's other things too, like history. The history of it. History. The first use of acrobatics as a Pacific sport was in the Soviet Union in the 1930s, and the first World Championships were in 1974. In addition to the current 5 categories, 2 additional categories from tumbling, men's and women's, were included until the 1990s World Championships, though some groups still involve tumbling events. So, yeah, just a brief of it. Now, let's go to the other ones like the Celtics group, and then Michael. Let's just go briefly here. It's a discipline of gymnasts. AGG, Aesthetic Group Gymnastics, is a discipline of gymnastics developed from the Finnish World Women's Gymnastics. Discipline is, I'm not gonna pronounce it. Discipline is reminiscent of rhythmic gymnastics, but there are some specific differences. In AEG, the emphasis is one big and continuous body movement, and the teams are larger. So they're working together. Their main opponent, the scoring system, and how much they can get the score to advance. And then there's Makahaba. Makahaba is a traditional sport originating from the Indian subcontinent in which gymnasts perform aerial yoga postures and wrestling grips in concert with a vertical stationer or hanging wooden pole, cane, or rope. It's not officially recognized, but as it follows, it's more of the entertainment slash other practices from different exercises like yoga. and wrestling. So this combines both yoga postures and wrestling grips. So both of these fields. Yeah. So you have experts who are know a bunch about how to wrestle a person and how to do yoga at night. Well, but yeah, that'll be the gist of it. And you know what? Let me see how much history they have and stuff like that. Yeah, there's not much. But, oh well. Well, for the sea also ones, yeah, you got pole dancing, Chinese pole. Here, the Chinese period of vertical poles, which image is way different than just pole dancing, where pole dancer is like sliding downwards elegantly, while this person is just look like he's falling, and in the last minute he's gonna catch the pole because oh man, he's an expert, so he knows how to do his stuff. Well, hopefully, the thing is good. So let me just have this image here. Hope that's not against TOS because of and when I am looking at the other side of my screen, it's just recreational gymnastics. Let me see if in there is anything related to it. Oh, let's see, articles and stuff like that. There is not. Oh, I'm looking at on Google, but. And there's this one along with bouncer a lot, Patrick recreational. All right. I think I will just go with this one article because there's very few articles I just found, and this one seems the most accurate. But yeah, Gym with Me, websites. What's actually have this? Competitive or recreational? Choosing which gymnastics path suits your child. Both promote strength, fitness, and confidence, flexibility, and fun. But there's a significant difference between competitive recreational programs. And yeah, looking through here when it came to me just typing recreational gymnastics, not this one though, but in the separate one, it all these classes that they have in the websites, yeah, they're mainly just catering for kids. Um, and yeah, kids is what I'm actually referring to, like kids, not teenagers, but there's also teenagers here too. But yeah, I figured when it came to recreational specific classes, it's just for a certain youth demographic. But let's go through here. Let's skim through here. Look at headlines. Read it. So your child has been doing gymnastics for some time, maybe once or twice a week recreation, and has been taking part in some of the holiday camp programs. Now he or she or you is thinking they'd like to see if they could take the next step towards competitive gymnastics. No, we're just mainly focused on just recreational. What's the difference? Recreational gymnastics, as the name suggests, caters to anyone from your little or big ones who are just starting out in the sport to a seasoned gymnast you like to train without the pressure of competitions. After all, it's never too late to start, and this sport caters to anyone looking to join its benefits. In short, recreational gymnasts get to sediment on the fundamentals of sport through classes and can transfer techniques and skills that they picked up on other sports later in life. So, yeah, at least for recreational, they actually do know that it is just recreational and there is a path forward to it, but it's here it does say that it could help you plan in other sports later in life. Let me look at the okay, yeah, my time is almost up. But yeah, let's go through headlines, training hours, commitment level, health, fitness, and then support. But yeah, when it comes to support and the thing I was talking about with sports that cater anyone looking to perfect them, like sports later in life. This refers to other competitive sports and under that scene, which isn't a. So I think the only way I could look at it in a perspective is my perspective, which is just me being an adult, and yeah, it's a. I don't. The only way I can see I could do gymnastics is some of the moves, it's some of the flexibility trainings, the discipline, not the discipline, but the practice would offer. Because the discipline is under competitive, which, as it actually shows right here, plenty of other sports later in life, but also other disciplines in sports, especially in the competitive scene. Which this goes with the whole category of how other sports see um, um, see, practice and see themselves. But anyhow, I'll gather my thoughts and talk about this next time. Other than that, I am going to bed.